Have you ever been really excited about joining a new challenge and then halfway through you kind of fall off the cliff? Well, I'm here to tell you that that's happened to me more than once, but not this time. Welcome, I'm Doll from Doll Can Create, also known as Granny Doll living the 100-mile life, Granny Core Cozy. Welcome. I'm going to talk today about our sock challenge. It's Socktober and we have just passed the midpoint. So it's October 16th when I'm recording this, and I'm going to share with you my progress and the exciting things that have been happening. So first off, let's look at what I've completed so far. This is the first sock finished. Isn't that pretty? It's called Daisies. And I'll see if I can't put the link below for you. Again, I used an afterthought heel. And when I fold it over, it's almost half, right? This is hand dyed by me, copper from Wilton's food dye. And I really like the way it's turning out. It feels very fallish, very, very fallish. The second sock I finished, so I finished actually 2 socks already, and it's only halfway through, is the roll for sock. I can't remember. I'm going to have to look that up. Anyway, you roll the dice and we're doing this kind of a scattered sock. There you have it. So these are all the sock yarns that I've had. Again, an afterthought heel with this one. This one here, let me bring it up a little bit closer. This I hand dyed and I called it watermelon. These striping ones here was from West Yorkshire Knits, and it was a Christmas. This one, the next one, I also hand dyed with grape Kool-Aid, I believe. So, and there was a repeat. You know, it happens when you're rolling the dice and you get what you get. But this one was different because I did a toe up. Have you done a toe up? It's not necessarily one of my favorite ways to create a sock, but definitely better to use an afterthought heel, I think. But, you know, who knows? What I didn't like about this one is that the cuff isn't, like the length of the sock isn't long enough. So I could take the cuff out, do another 10 rows, because this is all 10 rows each, do another 10 rows, and then do the cuff on top of that. And I'm not sure I like the gray on top, but I mean, it's supposed to be Roll for Socktober is what it's called. Hashtag Roll for Socktober. And we're using up scraps of what we have. So that's kind of fun. Definitely fun. So yesterday I did this. So I'm doing the toes the same. The toe and the heel and the cuff will all match, but everything in between won't. What was interesting was that when I rolled for the next color, when I changed, it was the same as the other sock. Accident? Happy accident? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, so that's well underway. And I did cast on for the orange sock. So today, this is the one I'm going to be working on for sure. I have to say, I'm going to have a lot of this left. 100 grams of sock yarn for me does, I bet it would do almost 3 socks. I don't know, but I've got a lot of scrap and I have a lot more in the basket and more in the closet. So I could do many, many, many scrappy socks if I wanted to. I'm really interested right now to see if I can come up with a hand-dyed Christmas one. I have 3 skeins of sock yarn left to dye. And I have a Christmas red from Wilton's, and I have a sage green. So if I use the green, the Christmas red, and then leave a white, I might be able to do it. I don't do a lot with getting the spatial dyes, this, that, or the other. I like doing sparkles, but getting them to stripe really well, I just haven't done enough to get there. So I'm curious, do you do your own sock dyeing, and what does that look like for you? I'm also thinking about getting some worsted weight to do some hand dyed for mittens. I don't know. What do you think? It could work. It could work. Oh, I'm sure it'll work. Yeah. So this week I'm going into my reading week, and I just wrote a blog post about that. It's part of ministry work. So I'm going to read a novel. I'm going to read a book on biblical principles of finance, and one on starting over. What's life coming next? And when I get to the end of that, I will try to do a video where I talk about each of the books at different times. I'm not a huge reader. I have not been able to knit and read at the same time. Audiobooks might work for me sometimes, but so far it's like, maybe not. So if you have any tricks about that, I've never been a big reader. Even as a child, I was not a big reader. My kids are big readers. They read a lot. So I have a library of books in my home. I have the Libby app on my phone so that I can read stuff from the library. I have a library card. I have lots of opportunities to read. I just don't do it. So the two things that I'm focusing on for this week are the reading for my ministry. So I have to get in my ministry hours, and my sock knitting. Yes, sock knitting. Roll for Socktober. Hashtag Socktober 2025. I'm also still spinning for my sweater because every once in a while I still pick up that sweater. So we'll talk about that in another video. If you're interested in my favorite sock patterns, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll do a video that highlights each of my favorite patterns and talk about why I like this better in this pattern, and like why I like this heel or this toe or this construction or whatever. But we can talk about that if you're interested. My target goal is to be able to spin my own sock yarn. Ugh. It's doable. I know it is. And I can do a worsted weight sock easy enough with my hand spun, but it's getting it a little bit finer. And I do have some raw mohair coming to me to clean up and then ultimately spin. And putting that mohair into some of the yarn would be really good. It'll strengthen it, especially for the heels. But my heels, yeah, I don't wear out my socks a whole lot because I have enough that I don't wear them every single day and then throw them in the wash. I wear a pair one day and then the next day. Anyway, I rotate them through. Socks. They're so warm on the feet. Oh my goodness. Wool socks are just so much better for me than any of the sports socks that you can get. I'm sure if I bought 100% wool socks from any of the sports stores or even Amazon, any of those things, that they would be good for me as well. However, if I'm going to spend $20, $30, $40 on a pair of wool socks, I'm going to knit them myself. What do you think? It's not the same as going to the dollar store and getting a pair of socks now for maybe $2 or $3, because nothing's $1 there anymore, it seems. But knitting it yourself, it just gives you that satisfaction of creating this and then wearing it on your feet. I knit Nick a pair of socks in August. I noticed he hasn't worn them yet, but he's not wearing socks yet. So eventually he will, because his feet get cold. But why knit socks? Well, they're easy to carry. They're portable. If you're doing a plain vanilla sock, you probably have the pattern down. You don't have to worry about marking your rows. You just keep going. That's what I like about it. And then every once in a while with this beautiful daisy pattern, you know, I got to keep track of which row I'm on. It's only a 4-row repeat, so it's not too bad. But isn't that pretty? Let's see if I can get it up a little bit closer for you. And I did more of a square toe than I usually do, and it feels better on my foot. And then, of course, the afterthought heel. So, are you knitting socks? And have you started the challenge and you're starting to kind of wean off a little bit? Do you need some excitement? Come back and talk to me. I can get anyone excited about socks because I'm so excited about them. I want you to join with me. We have 16 days, 17 days left. How many days do we have left? 15 and 15, 30, 31, 16 days. I'm doing my math. We have 16 days left in the challenge, and I bet you can at least knit one sock. And if you're a beginner, just plan on knitting 3 or 4 rows a day and see where that gets you. Don't let discouragement take over. There's all sorts of tutorials on YouTube on how to knit socks. And I encourage you to try. If you have never tried, I encourage you to try. If you've been knitting plain vanilla socks, I encourage you to try something a little bit more fancy, maybe some color work, some lace patterns, but whatever, do something. But join me. Granny Core, right? This is what grannies did. Join the Granny Core revolution. Join the sock knitting revolution. Socktober rocks. So rock for Socktober, roll for Socktober, and let's keep this going. Until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.